everybody. Welcome to All Caps. I'm Isaac Anderson, the host of All Caps. I'm the author of A Song of Bones in the Garden Maze, and I'm joined by three amazing special guests. I have Timothy Robare, Saffron Asteria, and E.L Montague. You guys are all legendary, established, very popular Spartan racers. You guys have you've been all over the world. You've won all the trophies. And you've made enemies. You've made such enemies across the world because everyone knows that everyone hates Spartan racers. So I was wondering if I could get all of you guys together and just talk about, your favorite runs. Saffron, what was your favorite run you went on as a Spartan warrior? Because the Odyssey's coming out. Those guys were almost Spartans, weren't they? That's related.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I don't pay attention to stuff, especially when it comes to athleticism. I don't like sports that much. What
do you think of the World Cup? That's a clip-worthy topic.
I don't think about it.
Didn't England just play?
I wasn't playing. Stop it!
I thought you guys were all there.
I did too.
No. I am in DFW, and they did have a match of some description nearby.
They've had several.
Oh, thank you.
It's okay. It's okay, but they've had several.
Oh,
so
that was mean.
It was so good. It was so nice. Yeah. So you guys are all writers. I think everyone watching the show knows who you guys are. We're talking about The Rings of Adventure, our upcoming short story anthology of over 30 short stories from indie authors in fantasy, science fiction, romance, and horror. We're here to talk about what makes a good short story. And you guys know a thing or two about writing short stories. So if you were to sit down with a young up-and-comer who's really, he's passionate about, I want to get into short stories, writing little tiny things. How do I do that? What advice would you give them? What would you tell? What's the helpful little nugget of wisdom you could impart to the internet? Let's start with Mr. Robare.
That was so mean. He's got his mouth full. You're so cruel.
For me, it's different because I went to university and that's mainly what we focused in. Right. So it's hard if someone's just like randomly doing it. But as far as short stories go, I would just say experiment. You're short, experiment with the length, just write stuff down and see kind of where it falls and where your word count falls and just kind of build on it. Because I feel like, all short stories tend to be messes at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess similar to novels, the more you write, the better you tend to get at it. But short stories give you a lot of wiggle room to just write a bunch of junk down, see kind of what sticks and works for you, and then keep just progressing from there.
Right. Yeah. So you are a spaghetti writer. You throw at the wall and see what sticks.
As far as short stories go, yeah. I go in with like a very vague plan and kind of a hopeful ending and just write from there.
True. Yeah. I had my list of things I'd like to touch on, and I think I wrote down too many things. Saffron, how do you approach short story writing?
Well, I go about it intending to plan it out. And I start like putting bullet points of, okay, so this is where I want it to start. These are the main things I want to happen. And then I get bored of doing that and I just start writing it. So I always end up with like a stack of like a list at the top, and then it starts actually just being a thing. Because I don't have the patience to be like, I don't want to know how my own story's necessarily going to end unless I get stuck on the ending. So I prefer to surprise myself, because otherwise I don't feel that interested in writing it. Like if I know what the story looks like, then why am I writing it unless I want to share it with people? And a lot of time it's just for myself. So I'd rather be like, what's going to happen here? And then I'm like, what the fuck? Like it's a vaguely organic thing. But it's only been since I've been sharing my work with other people that's made me realize, the things that I need to focus on in terms of like being a bit more punchy and revealing information early on so that you're not like randomly bringing things in, because that seems to be something that people tend to do, is that they'll introduce stuff really late on and you've lost your opportunity to actually make it worth mentioning. So for example, in the story that I wrote for the Rings of Adventure anthology, that's so difficult to say and I blame Ro for that, is that I talked about a chair, and then right at the end I called it a Chesterfield, and somebody brought it to my attention and said, why are you telling me it's a Chesterfield that's like 3 sentences until it ends? I'm now annoyed because I thought it was a different kind of chair. So it's just things like that I think are really important to take into account when you're writing anything. But that's what that's what the revision's for. That's what the editing's for.
Yeah.
But yeah.
For my story, I waited till like the last half to introduce like a key concept. I was trying to be mysterious and build to it. But for short stories, you can't, unless the whole goal is that twist and you're setting up that twist, you really need to give the reader everything they need, at least most of the things they need from the get-go. So in the rewriting I've been doing, I've been focusing on, making everything feel like it's led to a certain thing. And when it happens, they're surprised, but they're not that surprised, if that makes sense. Right. E.L, you're probably the most prolific of us here on the panel. I've
written a few stories.
Just a couple.
I've written a few. And believe it or not, I've got 2 finished novels right now that I've got to edit, and I've started 2 more. So
I believe that.
And a collection. And that's Ro's fault. By the way, Ro is listening out there. It's all his fault. I'm going to publish an extra book this year because of him. But the answer on short stories is narrow your focus. The thing about telling stories is you need a certain amount of air to breathe for every character and for every event. And a short story is necessarily limited in terms of how far you can go, which means you have to start late enough in the problem and have a definitive enough thing to solve in order to bucket a story into a short story. When you have a novel, you've got more room to grow. And how is it your fault, Ro? You made me write 4 stories for this collection and you only took 1. As a result, I had 35,000 words of unused material. And then all I had to do was combine it with 2 others. So I'll put out a collection from all of my pen names together later this year. I got the idea. I thought about it and I was like, hey, if I take these 3 stories and then I just take things that are already ready to go in other names, hey, I've got 100,000 words already. All I have to do is put them together and then do a polish on them. And I already paid for secondary art, so I've got a great cover.
Sweet.
So, yes,
E.L has been the most fun person on this adventure. The Rings of Adventure would not be as fun without E.L in it. The Discord is hilarious because of you.
Well, just so that we're all clear, Ro calls me up. He texted me. It was late at night. He says, "Hey, Mike and I are going to do an anthology. You want to do it?" I was like, "Sure. What do you need?" He said, "Give me a story, fantasy." I was like, "It's going to be something Christmas." I was like, "Great. I have a story I can pull together right now." Knocked it out, handed him a 15,000 word story. And he's like, "Ed, it can't look like it was written by you and it needs to be 5,000 words. I was like, well, what the hell? So I wrote him another one. And then the first thing I get from the group, and it wasn't just Ro, the whole group is like, "Ed, 1 F-bomb per story. Maximum 1 F-bomb." I was like it's PG-13. If I can't hand this to a 13-year-old, they can't, you can't publish it. I'm like, fine. So I wrote another. And that was a pretty good story. And then Ro comes around and he's like, "Hey, we need more romance." I was like, "I can do you a romance, but that's under another pen name. Do you want me to do it?" He's like, "Yes." So I wrote another story, a romance. And then he says, "But you can't use the original story. We'll take the romance." I'm like, well, okay. So now I've got 3 stories ready to go. So there you go.
That's amazing.
And I can't keep to a word limit that he gave me. They're still short stories, but I write. I don't do my own focus. I have too many characters. I've got too many events. I like to pile it in there.
That's amazing. So I like the unique grouping of authors we have here. We have Tim. You're I think the only one of us who's classically trained. Like went to university for this.
Classically trained.
Did anyone else take like actual classes they paid for to do this, or
not in writing?
I would have graduated with an English degree if I switched one course. So I graduated with advertising copy editing for an undergraduate.
Okay.
But if I had switched one course, I would have graduated with English. Not because I was looking to go into writing. I just took a lot of courses.
Right.
And by the way, university creative writing courses, they're good because you're around other people that like to write, and there's a lot of good experience from there. But if what you're wanting to do is popular fiction that people want to read, university's not the place to go. Well,
they actually tell you that.
A professor's example is not the example to follow to be popular. Mm-hmm. If you want to write something important and sound smart and get a job at a university, it's exactly what you want.
They're pretty honest about it. Even when I signed up for it, originally when I switched my major, they said, just so you know, almost everybody with this major, which is writing arts and literature, goes into journalism or goes into like creation in LA, basically, like product creation or social media content. So I knew that early on, and also Isaac made me sound way cooler than I am, everybody. I'm not that cool. My story is about a samurai red panda. So
he is a liar. He's a lying liar from Liar Town. He says, I'm not that interesting. This guy is a globetrotter, world weary, been everywhere, done every. If there's a cool thing that you think should show up in a movie, he's going to nonchalantly say, oh, yeah, I did that last year. So let's not let him try and convince any of us that he's not one of the coolest people you'll ever run into. Now, his stories are they're his thing. They're not put it this way. He writes fiction for fun, and his fictional stories are less interesting than his life. That's not a knock. Your stories are perfectly interesting. I'm just saying what you do in real life, he had dinner with an Afghani family in the middle of a war. So
it's pretty
in Afghanistan while it was at war. That's what I'm saying. So he's super cool.
Very, very cool.
I mean, that is true.
And completely eligible. So people out there that are interested in the World Traveler, he's right here.
At a 3-year-old out on the show.
And then Saffron is English. So everyone here is very, very special. What?
We could do an author auction, like win a date with the authors from the anthology.
I'll be the auctioneer. I'll be the auctioneer.
You'd be a good auctioneer. You have the perfect voice for it. So
thank you. Yeah,
that'd be funny.
Yeah.
So, what are the stories you guys?
Stretch goals.
What are the stories you guys wrote for the anthology? Robare wrote I want to hear about the one that's going to be in the anthology.
All right. You'd asked Robare. I'll tell you about mine as soon as Robare's got it out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Poor guy's just trying to eat.
Everybody knows I like to write about animal humanoid-like creatures, anthropomorphic stuff. So I took it. I totally forgot that Ro had said it's Christmas stuff, so I didn't even think about it. It's a samurai red panda, basically trying to save his little island from an angry rhino. And it involves magical rings and water wielding and earth wielding. So it's just like a little adventure that kind of stems off of Tales of Battle with no real relation other than just the world. But I kind of wanted to I'm obsessed with red pandas. I went and saw one at the zoo like a week before Ro had messaged me, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. And then actually E.L was the best feedback I had gotten. I actually think I went through 8 people, and E.L actually, they all made my story better. But what E.L, his notes, I was like, oh, this actually has progressed the story in a really good way. Everybody was great. Ro and Mike Molman made me a little sad. But other than that, which I expected. But yeah, it's off of Tales of Battle World, and it's a samurai red panda that wields water, if that piques anybody's interest. If not, you can skip my story. It's okay. There's a lot of other good ones.
Don't be like that.
Stop it.
Don't skip any story, ladies and gentlemen.
They're all
story. Amazing.
It's a lot of fun.
When Tim starts self-deprecating, Timothy, I don't know if I can call you Tim, I can't remember if I can. You can mute his mic. Every time he's mean about himself, just mute his microphone.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
I think you should.
Saffron, speaking of muting microphones, what did you write?
What? I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but I'm going to tell you about my story.
All right.
My story is called She'll Never Be Gone, and it's based around two characters, but largely like the one main character, Arthur, who is grappling with whether or not he should answer a phone that won't stop ringing in his house.
Oh.
So it's a horror story, and it's quite gross, I think. A little
Quite
bit dark.
gross.
Yeah.
How gross we talking?
Like crunchy. It's a little bit. It's a little bit
Ooh.
crunchy.
A little crunchy crunch. Are these like
E.L's read it. It's a little bit.
Can we get a
Okay.
definition?
Had to be
on crunchy
PG-13.
Doritos or what?
Bone cracky.
Hmm.
A little bit of
So,
blood.
like
It's
Doritos.
all right. Merry Christmas. It's not Christmassy in any way.
It's a telltale heart that's not 100%
Good.
in their head. Yeah.
Hey, no self-deprecating. We already agreed.
Oh
Only
no,
for
it's
Timothy.
100% good. There's no question about that. It's
Thank
just it's not purely psychological.
No, because it was supposed to be PG-13, and the way that I wanted to take it, like in a really dark place, I couldn't stop myself from making it inappropriate. So I was like, okay, I need to reel that back and have it be like.
Were you going to go full body horror on that one?
Yes, until
Like
I
gruesome?
realized. I didn't know it was going to be PG-13 until I'd already started writing it, and I was like,
No, he waited until I got my third story out before he told me PG-13.
Well, you guys both had the same issue.
yeah, but it's fine. It's I finished it and it's good. So I feel pretty happy about it, and I feel like it could be. Thank you. That's very nice. I feel like it's going to be one of the few horror stories that is in this anthology. I'm interested just to read everybody else's because I don't have time to read anybody else's because it's just crazy all the time in my mind. But it's going to be really interesting to me to see what order everybody's going to be in and the kind of feedback that we're going to get, because each of these stories is going to be sent to people's inboxes, whoever supports the Kickstarter, one a day for like the whole month of December. So,
which is really cool.
It's really, really cool. So not only will you get like the actual physical thing, which is looking to be stunning, by the way, but you also get the stories early, so you don't even have to wait to read it. And then you can keep that precious, beautiful book all nice and neat on your shelf because you would have already read them.
It's a shelf trophy filled with art,
mm-hmm.
which, by the way, most did not do this. As a matter of fact, I only know that Saffron did, but she's artist and writer.
I'm not.
In hers. What?
Oh, in this, yeah. I'm playing a part of an artist as well.
Well, you'll have a published work, so
yeah,
there you go. It's pretty good.
That's true.
I dig Saffron's story the whole way around.
Thank you. Now, your feedback. I think you've probably given feedback on every single person's story.
Yeah,
I think anybody who put something up to be edited, I've given my unvarnished opinion, stream of consciousness plus notes at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yours is really good though. You remind me of my professor who's like, hey, this part kind of sucks, could be a little bit better, but this part's great. You do this a really good middle ground feedback, which is super beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like actual good feedback. Like, this is not working. This could be better.
Mm-hmm.
This, I think, is the strongest bit.
Yeah, or like you're missing an opportunity to do X, Y, Z. That kind of feedback is really, really helpful because it's not discouraging. It's more like this could be better. And this is how it could be better, but you weren't like, you have to do this thing. It was more like, if it was me, I would do this thing. So that kind of feedback is always helpful, especially when you're like new to sending your work to people and it's scary. That's a scary
I'm
thing.
not new and it's still scary. I went to college for this and it's still scary because some of the people in this anthology actually made me like shrink back. When Ro asked me, I was like, yeah, sure. Thinking it was just, and then people like Burn are in there and stuff. And I was like, oh crap.
The authors who have been invited are legit. So for anybody who partakes and anybody who hears about this, every author has a right to be there, and most of the authors have a back catalog that's worth going to. You said Burn and Joe you know, I will praise Rohan every time somebody lets me. That is a great series.
Mhm.
The character is top notch. So the short story is going to be great. And then go pick up all of his work. It's really good stuff.
Cool. So E.L, what is your story about?
So my fourth story was I'm going to keep pointing that one out, Ro. Was a romance. I wrote a meet cute. In essence, so again, to narrow the focus, I couldn't tell the whole romance. I could just tell the meet cute. And so it's the introduction of a romantic possibility between a school teacher on Saturn Station and a bereaved retired tier 1 operator. And so the way that they met. And it's a sweet little thing. So tier 1 operator, for those who don't know it, tier 1 would be the Navy SEALs, the Green Berets, that
All
type. So a space Marine who has retired because his wife died. So he retired to take care of his children and moved them to Saturn Station where he could get a good job. And so it's a meet between he and his children's or his older daughter's school teacher. It's actually it's sweet as butterscotch. I mean, there's one kiss. It's totally, a 13-year-old can read it. Anybody can feel, get a little flutter out of it. Trust me, same author name. I can give you some stuff that'll make you blush for a week, but this one is just it's just the meeting. Makes you want to see those two take the next step. That's it.
And I love that the stories you first brought, everyone was like, hold up, whoa, PG-13, and then you come back with like the most adorable story probably in the collection.
Well,
the range is amazing.
I did say I switched pen names. I went to a different teller. So
do you have to wear a wig when you're writing that,
no.
in that persona?
No, he just puts the notebook on in the background.
No, although I am quite a fan of Europop. Amazing. Just what?
I said amazing. I'm pleased.
Oh yeah,
I'm thrilled.
I like Julia Falcone and people like that. And I like good voices, French songs, Italian songs, Spanish.
I do love French music.
Yeah, I dig that stuff. So I do listen to that sometimes when writing romantic stuff, but I'm not really a music and writing thing because they usually have good words in them, and then you hear the words and not what you're writing. And honestly, mostly when I write, I turn on Isaac so I can ignore it.
There you go. When I write, I go to mynoise.net. MyNoise.net has all the sound generators you could ever ask for, completely free, no ads, no subscriptions. You can go to Pebble Beach. You can go to the moon. You could go to a Celtic monastery in the Middle Ages. It's actually, I really do. What's the word?
Trying to get sponsored?
Yes, this is sponsored by mynoise.net. Often what I actually do is they have really good like white noise generators.
Oh.
So when I'm at the coffee shop, I put my
mechanical
earphones
sounds
in.
and that kind of thing.
No, like white noise, like pure, like kind of static. Like you turn on the faucet and it activates something in my mind. I don't know if I'm just a boring person, and it just quiets everything, and I focus completely on my story, and I can get work done.
That's cool.
But if I'm doing something like specific, I go to the woods, or I listen to weather, like big strong weather, like that's happening far away, like over the hills, and it's cool. mynoise.net. I recommend it.
Okay.
You write to white noise.
Say what?
You write to white noise?
I do. Only if I'm very
blows my
desperate. That will unlock everything for me. I don't know why.
Interesting.
You found mice in a bush in white
Mice
noise.
in a Bush? Oh, yes. Yes. When I was writing Song of Bones, a good quarter
Right
of
there,
that was
in the
written on.
background.
Yeah.
Song of Bones.
Bada, bada, bada,
That-
bada,
there you go.
bing.
Hold up your book. Song of Bones.
Beautiful.
Also, a very cool book.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it
It
quite
was
a
a
bit.
lot of fun. You know, the parts that I read for you,
Mhm.
I enjoyed it. It's a good story.
I am pulling my hair out editing the sequel. It is so much fun, and it's also so awful and terrible. But I'm having a blast. I think it's the changes I'm having to make, because Song of Bones was a big 1,000-page epic. It's just too big. So that is just the first 25% cut off and edited.
Mhm.
So book 2 is really just the middle of the story. So I've had to edit it to feel like a true book 2, with like a beginning, middle, and end. And so that has been quite the struggle. But I've found such a great little middle chapter of a book there. So I've had a lot of fun doing that, listening to white noise and hanging out in the woods and trying not to die with my friends.
Yeah.
I think that's the best part of short stories, honestly, is it gives you a break from novel stuff.
Mhm.
It's precise, it's a piece, and you don't have to focus on the whole thing. So sometimes it's a fun little break from escaping of editing or trying to write down 100,000 words.
Well, I really enjoyed it because one of my first things I tried to do was a sci-fi, and I got pretty far into it, but I wasn't quite. I didn't know how to do it, so I'm treating this short story as like another try at what I approach doing sci-fi, and I think I know exactly what I would do now. So after I'm done with the mice, when I go up into space, I think I know how
You
I
have an
tackle
idea?
that.
You mean?
That's one of the things that I do with short stories. So you asked about short stories. I write a lot of short stories that never see the light of day because I write short stories for most of my characters, and I proliferate characters. So when I write a novel, I'll go write origin stories and backstories and why would this thing happen. So like, you know, the story that I wrote, A Rose for Lily, I wrote it in 2 days. You know, and actually 2 to 3 days is what it takes me to write a short story. And another, you know, this is actually a rule of thumb for the little writers out there. It's usually 2 to 1. So if it takes you a year to write a book, it'll take you another year to revise it and edit it. And so short stories take 2 to 3 days to write and 2 to 3 days to polish. And there you go. So a week you knock out a short story.
It's taken me 3 months for mine. It's been a nightmare.
I wrote mine in a day, but it went through editing for like 6 weeks.
Yeah. You did say I'm prolific.
Yes,
but I write between 2,000 and 5,000 words a day every day.
That's amazing.
So
yeah,
calm down, Stephen King. Okay, you don't need to put us to shame here. I'm like Saffron. I try to plan and then I get bored planning and I'm like, I don't care. And I also don't want to know my ending, so I just go.
Yeah.
I like so both Tim and Saffron, both you guys, you like to surprise yourself. Like, what is that? That's it's pantsing, but I'm thinking of a different word. It's more of a immersion writing. Is that the right term, or what would you call that?
Yes, you could say that.
Where it can actually surprise you. You're following along the story, and it can actually surprise you. So how often does it happen? Every single time for you guys, or how often does it actually happen? It's only happened to me maybe twice. Or writing a story where it actually surprises me.
It's the only way I have interest in it.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
If I have everything plotted out, I'm not interested in it, and I think it's boring, and I view it as a task instead of
bingo. It's exactly the same.
So Isaac, I take it you're an outliner?
Oh yes, I spend a lot of time.
Kiddies out there, the outliner does not enjoy his process. He writes and he's never surprised. And he doesn't cry and he doesn't get a racing heart because he knows what's going to happen. Right, I spend every evening at my desk telling stories, having a racing heart. I sweat. I cry at the right times. I'm surprised by my characters. I mean, I got to tell you, some of my characters turn out to be assholes. And, you know, I didn't know it when I got started. It's like you meet that person that you think they're the one, and all of a sudden, not the one. But those are my characters, man. And the answer to your question is I never know what's coming. I rephrase. Any story I write, there's one event. I will know something that I want to see, and it can be anything from a 10-second something to a whole scene. But that's the seed that the story grows from, and I don't know anything else. I don't know the characters. I don't know the setting. I don't know nothing except for the one scene.
I don't start a project until I have a firm grasp on exactly what I'm going to be doing in there.
Why?
Well, because I did that method where I just dive in with Song of Bones, and it took me 10 years to finish it, and it was over 1,000 pages by the time I was ready to start editing. And the story was too big. I'm sure if I did that now, after doing this one, I have a clearer idea of, X amount of characters means X amount of pages means X amount of plot things. And so I'm sure I could probably do it smarter now, but I've kind of just trained myself to think through the story as like a puzzle and a problem. And the puzzle pieces are the characters, and everything needs to mesh in some way. So when I did Garden Maze, when I was plotting out
Also a cool book.
I love the Garden Maze. So the Garden Maze surprised me in some places. Like oftentimes I wasn't sure what the knight and squire were going to run into next. I had an idea, and my outline was basically the next puzzle room deals with the knight's pride. Like, okay, I'll figure what that means when I get there. But I've plotted out, that point at least. For Song of Bones, I wanted it to be a little bit more. It's not as abstract as like Garden Maze is. Garden Maze is a little bit more fairy tale logic, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm definitely a plotter, and yes, I probably am definitely way more frustrated than your average writer.
But you're also a methodical artist too. You're like that. I don't know if everybody knows this, but I deal with Isaac quite often, assuming we are on a show together.
With him. Right.
Well, we interact very frequently, and you are by far out of you, Mike, and I, by far more methodical, way more than me. We're almost opposites in the way that we approach just writing and art. But I can see the way that you talk about drawing and everything visually, and how it also compares to your process on writing, and knowing you as a person now because I see you weekly. So to me, it makes sense, but I could never do it. I mean, even in school, they tried to get us to do that stuff all the time. And, I would jot down a few things and I was like, no, I'm bored. And I've tried it because I can see how plotting can be good. And I try it.
The pivotal word. You can totally get yourself locked into an idea that isn't as interesting as it could be because you've rigidly decided it must be this.
So I can show you the closest I get to plotting. If you look right over there, I have a romantic thriller that I wrote, which by the way is 350,000 words, so I have to break it into books.
Right.
But I stopped because I had to publish another thing. And so when I stopped, I said, okay, this is all the stuff that has to happen to get me to the end. And I just wrote down 31 things that had to happen. Which, by the way, if you go 31 things, that's about 25,000 words.
I think if anybody knows me, I'm very scatterbrained. I used to do sticky note walls, but I stopped because
you lose a sticky note.
So you take like your ideas or your character, and then you sticky note from there, and you color code it like character lines and storylines and stuff. And I would do it, and I would fill a wall, and then I would start moving them around because I was like, I don't like this anymore. And then I'd come up with more ideas, and I'd also run out of wall. So the more ideas I give myself and the more plotting I give myself, the worse it gets because I'm so scatterbrained that I'm like, nope, don't like that anymore. I want this. That's why with covers, I want like maybe 2 options because otherwise I get overwhelmed and I like everything. And I'm like, this all sounds good. I want it all.
So that's why it's a dry erase board. And all the 31 steps does is it'll put me back in place. So when I go back to the story, I can pick it up. I can look at it. I'm like, okay, this is what's going on. This is what I thought would have to happen.
Yeah.
I will not do anything that's on that board. I guarantee it. I wrote it down because that's what I thought I was going to write when I stopped. But I guarantee the second I get halfway through the first scene, I'll be like, oh, I got to change this and I got to get rid of that. And I'm going to change this other thing. So when I write things down to remember, it's on a dry erase board because I erase it and go some other way altogether. But that's only to keep me on path because, you know, I have multiple projects going at any one time and I have to keep them straight.
How do you keep your different projects different? Like when I like if you really look at Song of Bones and Garden Maze, they're almost the same plot. Their characters stuck somewhere and they got to escape. So my sci-fi thing I outlined all those years ago was almost the exact same thing again. So I, for some reason, have this complex where the characters get stuck and have to get out. So do you guys struggle with that if you're doing like a bunch of different things? Like, how do you keep, you know, I mean, I guess it's pretty easy to do. You got to like sit down and like really make the effort. Okay, this must be different from this. But do you have like a system to help you do that?
Just my scatterbrained mind. I mean, luckily, like E.L said, I don't write like super in depth. I'm not writing literary stuff that's going to like blow your mind. I'm writing fun fiction. So for me, I think it's a little bit easier. I'm not trying to maintain these crazy in depth, like blow your mind, make you take 10 years, like Shutter Island type thing to figure out if the ending was real or not. So for me, it's pretty easy. And even though I can't remember where I put my keys or my wallet most of the time, I can keep my projects pretty separate most of the time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, they're all different worlds. I mean, so I have 3 primary worlds and several secondary worlds, and they all have, you know, central objectives. You know, like I've got the world of the Temra, which is an epic fantasy, and it's got, you know, it's all about built around one family through 2 generations, but all the stories I'm telling around it are extra characters that are in, and they all have to get back to that central story. So I have the central story to keep me planted. And then the near Earth stuff is really, it's just centered around the concept of the android awakening and first contact. And as long as I stick inside those buckets, then I'm fine. And then of course, Seaward is all about the criminal underground of supernatural creatures, you know. And then of course, thrillers are all about murderers. And then the romance stuff is all about, you know, wanting, longing, and eventually getting serious relationships.
Saffron.
Yeah.
What surprised you in this short story, since you're so good at writing things that surprise yourself?
In this particular one for the anthology?
Yes.
I think the way that it ended up, because I wrote the main character as a certain type of person. So the first version of this story was completely different, but the whole, like the storyline was very similar, but originally the main character was very like felt very sorry for himself, and it was kind of like mopey and a bit boring. And then when I wrote it again, I realized that actually it's much better if they're like a little bit vacant and a little more like resistant to something happening. I don't want to spoil it because the whole point of the story is like what the hell's going on. But I think it also surprised me that the way it ended, I think, because I wasn't really sure where it was going to go. I didn't know if we were going to find certain things out. I didn't know if I was going to leave it on like a big cliffhanger, which I did eventually. And yeah, it would just I don't know. I think there are sometimes when you have like an inkling, right, that you're heading in a certain direction, and sometimes like there's not to promote another anthology, but I'm writing another short story at the moment, and I don't know if it's going to be a happy ending or not. I have no idea. I've got up to the point where that choice has to be made, but I still don't know where it's going to go yet, because I feel that I don't mind cheating a reader out of an ending. I don't really care about that. Like, I don't need to have happy endings. I'd much rather it was realistic. Or
I used to be that way. My editors,
I was about to ask, how often do you not have a murderous conclusion?
Me?
Yeah.
How often do I not have a murder in my stories?
A murderous conclusion.
A murderous conclusion. It doesn't have to be a literal murder. You tend to go with the mean answer, right?
Things go splat at the end.
I think I like to explore loss, and I like to explore grief, and I study psychology, which is something that it is an interest of mine. And I don't find the books that I read that have like happy endings or like everything's tied up in a nice neat little bow, I find them to be incredibly patronizing some of the time, because I read a lot of horror, so like I don't want it to be good at the end. I don't want it to be like, oh, everyone's having a good time and there's a survivor and blah blah blah. Like I was watching a film, just a quick example, called The Descent, which is I think it's a British film, and the ending in the US is different to the ending in the UK. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it is.
And I was like, oh, what a wet fart. And then I told, because I'm doing a show with Sarah about this. And she was like, oh, what ending did you get? And I was like, the one that ends? I don't know. And then I described what happened. I don't want to spoil it, and if anyone wants to watch it, but that's not what happens at the end in the original version. They like clip it so that there's like hope, right? Whereas I think that some stories don't need hope. They don't need, that's not their purpose. The purpose is to be like, let me explore depravity, or, you know, how far can people be pushed in their life to do something that the average person necessarily wouldn't do? Like, is it about survival? Is it about coping? Is it just because people just completely lose their marbles? So that's what I find really interesting. When it comes to writing, I think I usually don't know how it ends. That's my main thing. Like, I know roughly kind of what happens and who's going to be there, but then occasionally someone will pop up and you think, who the hell are you? I've got to give you a name now. And then they tell you their name and you're like, okay, I guess that's what your name is. And that's kind of bumbling around. I definitely do that in my life as well. I'm a bit of a bumbler. And I just sort of stumble through things. I'm like, I guess I'm doing this now. Oh, I guess I'm moving to Texas. Like, it's just how my life works. So that's how my writing works as well.
What helps you decide, you know, how to take the ending? Do you go with
my gut,
what's most interesting, or do you go with?
To me, yeah, I don't really even necessarily think about the readers, if I'm being honest. It's more like, what do I find to be a satisfying conclusion? And if I feel like I've phoned it in, then I rewrite it. Like, if it's something that I think, like, I wrote the end to my debut novel Blackout, and I am so unhappy with it. That is not how that story ends, but I plugged a hole. It was like I had to write the end, otherwise I was going to go crazy. And I've been thinking about it obsessively, and I think this is just not the right thing. It's just not the right ending. I've just gone, that's just, everything's tied up in a nice neat little bow, and I don't feel that that's a satisfying ending. So yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a gut feeling for me.
I think that's one of the hardest parts as writers, is trying to weigh your own feeling versus what you think is going to be, you know, marketable, or what people are going to be satisfied with. And what it really comes out to is, no matter what you do, some people are going to be satisfied, some people aren't going to care, and some people are going to hate it. And it's just like, that's why now I wasn't afraid, and then I became afraid, and now I'm like, I don't care anymore. I'm going to write what I want, and it's going to end how it ends. And you guys can all like it, hate it, review it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things, like, so I've, you know, we've all spoken to a lot of writers. That's kind of what we do in this community. But having interviewed 180 different people, the main thing when I read people's books is if the author has enjoyed the process, or they've enjoyed telling the story, and they tell the story they want to tell, I enjoy it as well. If they've just done what they think is the right thing to do, I can always tell. I feel like I can always tell. Like, there's this lack of, I hate this word, authenticity to the story, because they've just done what they feel like the right thing is to do, because that's what the formula tells them to do, or that's what somebody else has told them to do. And it's like, you have to follow your gut, and you have to believe in the thing that you've written before you share it to people. Yeah,
you can tell if someone forces it to an extent. And you can also tell because sometimes just the ending doesn't match the rest of the story. And that's when you really can tell, like, between, like, you know, during the climax and then between the resolution, if someone forces something because they think it has to be a way, it can really show.
For sure.
I love how EL had become a dog.
A very cute dog. I want to know
He
what this dog's name is. It's amazing.
became a cute dog out of nowhere. That must be LE. That's actually LE right there.
What are your dog names again?
It's Bonnie and Clyde.
That's right. Oh. Amazing. They're very cute.
Are we going to show EL's art? Because it is the best art in the anthology.
EL has some pretty good art.
Who's your artist?
You have it?
Having it set up would have been an amazing thing to have ready to go.
You would have thought that through?
That would have been, I mean, that'd be amazing if I had done that.
I really enjoy the art that I got. And that's a new artist for me. So Dave Dobson had showed his, and I thought, wow, that's really pretty good. And I need an artist for my romance. That's not
There's a picture of Jeff Bezos as we wait.
But anyway, I saw Dave's art, and I was looking for a new artist, so I thought I'd reach out to that guy, and he just did a really bang up job.
Who is it?
Jesus da Silva, guy out of Venezuela.
Oh, yeah, I know that name.
He did a really great piece for me, or at least a piece that I really like. I will confess, I have shown it to a number of people that I know in the romance community, and they all poo-pooed it, but I disagree with them. So
the romance community is probably the most chaotic community in writing.
Careful, Timothy. They'll come for you.
What I would say is,
we're coming for you, Timothy.
The romance community is the most mature of the fiction categories. And what I mean by mature is they're advanced in stage. They know exactly what they have a theme, they have a plot, they have a way of doing things. And part of what you're supposed to do when selecting cover art for any genre, but for romance in particular, is it has to say what you're going to get, and it has to look like everybody else. Well, I don't want to look like everybody else. I think this is cool.
I do too. But I'm biased.
Well, especially since it kind of looks like you, but
little bit.
But yeah, I mean, this is straight out of the story that I wrote. The scene and the characters, he captured it. I've actually been really lucky with the artists that I've used, in that they have all been willing to read the material. So I gave him the whole story, and he read the whole story. So part of the reason that he was able to capture the scene, but even my novel length works, my current artists read the whole book. So like this one, it's not a long book, but the guy that did this artwork read the book, and this one is a long book, and they read the whole book. So I've been very lucky with artists that are willing and able to read the material and get a sense of it. And I've been lucky enough to, write well enough they will read it. So
that's fair.
Miriam
did mine, and she was also incredible. It was also my first time working with her.
She's amazing.
Her work, and she's such a good communicator, and she had me draw this. She was like, "Can you draw me kind of an idea of what you want?" And I was like, "I cannot draw." And she's like, "Just try." I drew this really terrible sketch, and I was like, "This thing is this. This is supposed to be this. This is supposed to be this," because it looked nothing like it. And she was like, "That's perfect." And I was like, "What?" And then she came back with a rendering, and I was like, "Whoa, you got that from what I gave you? That's crazy."
Yeah, that's. Do we have his art?
Yes, if I can. Yes.
See if you were prepared. We'll talk amongst ourselves. You can pull up the artwork.
But it is. That's one of the coolest part, is when you give someone something and they create it, and you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, no, when I got the rough sketch for this one, I was like, wow, that's like spot on. And then everyone that I've seen, this is great.
I love the coloring on it.
The part that surprised me was the samurai armor, but the samurai armor really works.
She kept asking me questions, and I was like, "I'm gonna trust you. I was like, I'll give you as much feedback as possible, but I'm just trusting you because I know nothing. I'm that way when I go get tattoos. I'm that way when people draw for me. I'm like, I have a vague idea and I'll trust you with everything else. Because she was giving me these terms. I was like, I don't know what any of that means. And she would try to show me. And I was like, you're so professional and I'm so unprofessional at this. And then she came up with this and it was still mind-blowing to me. I actually intend on getting it framed when I have more than 35 seconds to think of doing it.
It's very cool.
That's a good idea. You should get that framed. And here is Saffron's art that she did.
I actually haven't seen it yet.
It's actually pretty good.
I drew it.
I love
be
the
nice.
negative space. I love the negative space.
Thank you.
It's cool. I mean,
Wait,
the way that it
digital or-
works with the story is spot on.
That was the goal.
Is it digital or hand?
I actually hand drew it and then added it into Photoshop and put a negative filter on it.
Whoa, that's pretty
And
cool.
then added like the blood at the bottom.
What did you use to draw it?
A pencil.
Oh, okay.
and
I
a
didn't know if
piece
you
of
used like one of
paper.
those charcoal things or not, because it kind of
No.
Oh, okay.
No, so I have the original pencil drawing. I could probably find it.
It's right there.
Give me a second. I'll see if I can find it. Oh, do you have it? Oh, yeah. That still has
okay.
a textured layer over it because I was unsure if I wanted to do like a canvasy type thing, but I think the negative one's more horror sort of thrillery.
Yeah.
I love,
Yeah,
I really like the negative vibe of
Thanks.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the art right after reading the story and I thought fits perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I'm a cheapskate and I don't want to pay someone. And I was like, I'm not using AI. I'm going to use a pencil because I feel like that is worth something.
Yes.
Well, that's why when
Yes.
Miriam was like, I'll do someone's for free. And I was like, dibs. Because A, I've seen her work. And B, she's always like stocked up on business.
Yeah.
So I was like, dibs. And I was, yeah. And obviously, everybody knows I'm super anti-AI. So I was like, I'm either paying Dimitri or Miriam's doing it. So
As soon as my story is done, like I'm happy with it, I'm going to draw some spaceships.
not the
I
happy
saw the
face one.
sketch for yours. It looks sick.
Isaac did do a happy face spaceship, but then everybody put that now they can only see the happy face.
Yes. There was a very prominent happy face that I did not notice until everyone said.
So Isaac
"There's
just
happy
did the
face."
artful dodge of, can't show mine.
I can probably show what I got so far.
Show your happy face.
Oh
ship.
yeah, show what you have so far. It's so cool.
And
Your
show your
artwork
happy
is
face. ship.
sick, by the way.
I don't know
like,
how well
you're
it'll
very good
show.
at
Oh, it'll show up good. Yeah.
His whole family does good art. It's incredible. His brother did my upcoming cover. that I haven't
Really?
shown yet. Yeah, and it's
That's cool.
So my brother Josh, he did.
he's so good.
He did the cover for Song of Bones.
That's cool. Aw.
Which, by the way, is a perfect cover for Song of Bones.
Glorious. He did the one for Garden Maze.
That's beautiful.
Very, very happy with that one. And
Yeah, he did my upcoming cover, and he did like 12 renditions, and they were all amazing. I sent them to like 8 people that I trust, and I was like, I need you guys to help me pick because these are all so good.
Oh, that's nice.
okay.
So the Anderson family is just incredibly gifted.
Talented people.
We have practice. When we were poor and young, we would play what we called the drawing game. We would all sit down. We'd have I'd say, draw something sad. Everyone draws the saddest thing they can. So here's the spaceship that I drew.
I still like the smiley face shit personally.
Yes. So on the left, there's an obvious smiley face, which looks like things I've drawn, like little characters I've drawn in the past. So that's probably how that snuck in there in the first place. You can kind of see a Jeep being unloaded there, kind of in the story. What I'm working on right now, I haven't touched it in about a month, so it's still just kind of a sketch, is this version right here. It's kind of small.
Oh yeah,
If I can make that. It's kind of it's kind of small. So I might extend the frame a little bit. I wasn't sure how well I could draw a hard surface looking spaceship and have it be fun to look at.
It is pretty awesome. It's very Dune-esque.
Yes, it is a little. Maybe it's a tad too Dune-y, The story is a little bit more. I'm going for more of a cassette music future, if that makes sense. More alien-ish. So like things are wires and dials, and they're not really, Apple tech.
That's only time. Dune is 5,000 years in the future, and Alien's only 1,000 years in the future.
That's true. So, one thing I like to ask all the guests when they come on for these particular streams: what are your favorite short stories? What are the short stories that showed you what a short story could do?
I've got an answer, sort of. If you want to hear it,
is it Frog and Toad?
No, it's not. And okay, so I stopped reading for a long time, and I picked it back up again 10, 15 years ago, and I started reading the subreddit No Sleep, which is like a horror subreddit. And
a lot of good stuff is being written over there.
It's so good. It's good. Recommend it because it's written in the sense of like you're supposed to believe that whatever this person is writing happened to them, or is happening, or is true. So that's like the whole vibe of it. And I don't remember exactly what the story was called. I think it was called The Third Parent or something like that. And it was a story based on a character called, called Tommy Taffy, who basically like turns up at the front door of a family and is like, I'm moving in, and then just like abuses everybody, which sounds really awful, and it is. But the way it was written grabbed me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then when the author wrote a full-length version of it, I picked it up quicker than I could think. And I think it's being made into a film now, which is exciting. But it all stemmed from this short story. And it was so brutal, and you knew everything about everybody in this short story with very few words. And that is like what I look for in a short story. There's also a bunch from Ian Sullivan that I really enjoy. His flash fiction and short stories are really, really good. But yeah, I just love finding random ones from the internet just to see what people can do, and those are my favorite ones. But I can never remember the names of them. I just remember how I felt when I read them.
They all have really weird names too, like very, very unique, very fun, written in just a voice that you don't see printed usually. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff on the internet.
Yeah.
I think I know Robare's answer.
Do you? What do you think it is?
Anthem, isn't it? Is it Anthem? That's your favorite short story? Kind of short
but it's a
story.
novella. That's a novella. No, my favorite short story is By the Waters of Babylon.
Is that
by whom?
Yeah, what is it?
Oh, who is that by? Stephen Vincent Benet.
When was that written?
1937.
Why do you like it so much?
Yes.
It's post-apocalyptic, and it's really in depth, and it takes you through. For a short story, it takes you through what feels like you go through in a novel. It takes you through this wave. It's like perfectly descriptive, especially for a short story. That's not too much, but it really like takes everything and makes you like feel it and see it. And then just the ending. Whatever. It's from 1930s. If you haven't read it, too bad. They find this destroyed skyscraper city, New York City, whatever. He goes up and he basically sees like this montage of the world ending, essentially, like the atomic bombs and stuff. And it's just, it's crazy that it was written that long ago. But I guess it's, right before World War II. So, but just, it still translates to today. I mean, I've read it like 15 times. I read it for multiple classes and on my own just for fun. And really dissected it and stuff too, which also probably makes it more of my favorite. But it's just one of those stories that I read, and every little piece about it was perfect. I'm a pretty easy reader. We've talked about this on Pen and Dragon. I'm pretty easy to impress, so it's not really that impressive to impress me. I'm very happy-go-lucky. You get an A. You
got good taste, though. You got good taste.
I hope so. But this is one of the ones that like is S tier to me. It's really like it's just above everything else. It's up with George R. R. Martin for me. It's just like this powerful short story that you can relate to. The world is well crafted. The characters nice to follow, and the author's voice is just fantastic in the story. And I think that is one thing that really sets a short story apart is if you vibe with the author's tone. Especially because a short story, you only get so much room to get in there. So if you're like a reader that takes time, or you're a reader that kind of feels things out, short stories are hard. And if you can just really jump in and grasp a short story, I think that's what really, really makes them special. Because a lot of short stories are good, but you don't dive in and like instantly intrigued all the time. And yeah, By the Waters of Babylon, just start to finish is just like you're in it. Or at least I was just in it and just adored every second of it.
Yeah.
E.L, what about you?
Pinning me down on one short story would be hard, but when you asked, I thought of this collection, Cyberabad Days by Ian McDonald. Oh, there you go.
Hold it up.
If you know Ian McDonald, he's a big science fiction guy. He writes lots of really good novels. But in that collection, The Dust Assassin, on page 51, for those of you with the same edition as me, is an excellent story. And what I really liked about it, it's one that I read as an adult. I think this was published in 2009, so not that long ago. But what I really loved about it is it really took me into another way of seeing the world. All of those stories are based in India. So it's India in the future. And you know, Cyberabad is obviously a take on Hyderabad. But you know, the Dust Assassin is a kid that, you know, he's one of the street cart vendors, and it's just that really gritty take that takes into account everything that you'd see in India, but then explodes it into a future world. So you really have a sense for the way things are now, but you know, in like Alien, I mean, it has that same kind of dirty, gritty, futuristic, you know, buy eyeballs on the street kind of Blade Runner thing going on.
I was gonna say, as someone that's been through India, I have a visual.
Oh yeah, I mean, as soon as I read it, I was like, I totally get, and I like seeing things from someone else's point of view. I've got a lot of material available to me that is, you know, pretty white bread, US baked, you know, and English in US and Canada, for those of you from Canada. There's lots of that material. So when you get to see stories that have some authenticity from other viewpoints, they're really pretty interesting. You know,
for sure. I do have to dip out on you all real quick. I'm sorry. There's carrot cake that has to be had for this birthday party. So
hey man, do what you gotta do.
Go have a birthday cake.
Bye everybody. Isaac, see you soon. That sounds weird.
Tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, Dragon.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Now that he's gone,
we can have a real party.
My favorite short stories, I think, are from George R. R. Martin. So it's a shame that Tim left because he loved him so much. I loved his Tough Voyages series. It was just, you know, a guy. They're great. They're basically I think they're funny in kind of a way that they're probably not supposed to be funny. So the main character is this very, very large, fat man that I just imagine George is projecting, because this is a big fat guy. He's not fat due to any fault of his own, and in fact, he's beautiful. It goes on about how beautiful he is and how large he is, and it goes, and everyone hates him because he's so smart and perfect. So it's.
That's funny.
I just imagine George himself in these stories. So they're very fun. They have very fun sci-fi concepts and ideas. So basically, this guy, his last name's Tough, something Tough, and he finds this massive spaceship that's like millennia old, and he's so intelligent and wise. He figures out how to run it all himself with no one's help. And he goes around the universe, not really helping people, but finding problems and fixing them, whether the people want them fixed or not. And they're very fun. They're very fun, weird little stories.
Mm-hmm. That sounds amazing. I have to seek this
That
out.
does sound kind of amazing. I was really surprised because obviously Song of Ice and Fire is when I was introduced to George R. R. Martin, like most people.
Yeah.
I was really surprised to learn that he was a longtime mid-lister before he was found.
Oh, yeah.
Another story for all of you aspiring writers out there is most successful writers served their term as a nobody. You know, and by the way, mid-lister means you're good enough that you can support yourself as a writer, but you're not a Hollywood A-lister type. These are people that make regular, honest livings writing books, but they're not like super rich and go to all the fancy country clubs and parties and stuff. They work like the rest of us. Their job is just writing books. And that was George R. R. Martin from the early 80s until
like
mid
70s on.
Yeah, long time. 20, 30 years as a mid-lister before he really caught fire. And then once he caught fire, his whole backlist, sold out. But
yeah, and it helped that his backlist was also good.
Oh yeah,
he had a lot of good stuff.
That's the other thing. I mean, these writers have always been good writers. You don't get to a point where you can make a living as a writer without being good. But whatever the magic sauce is that turns 1,000 sales into 1 million sales, if they could bottle that, but no one actually knows what it is. It just you catch and all of a sudden you're on fire.
Was there anything?
All love to catch fire?
Was there anything like Ice and Fire when it came out? Was it truly a new idea to have a gritty Lord of the Ringsy kind of thing?
No, Conan. For God's sakes, it's a medieval sword and sorcerer.
Conan was a little bit. It was like
Conan was more
Conan's the good guy.
Yeah, but if you look at a lot of the old Conans, there's a lot of grit, a lot of dark. Conan. The only difference is Conan himself was a good and decent person, a savage and a barbarian, and had messed up logic. But yeah, no, it's not a new idea. That's anytime you think what you're writing is edgy, go look at something your grandparents were doing. I mean, in this generation, your grandparents were the swinging 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, and for them, it was the roaring 20s. And before that, it was the, whatever wild crap they were doing in the 1890s.
The Old West.
The Wild West, yeah. So there's nothing new under the sun. There's only a fresh look at what's happening. And so was George R. R. Martin special? No. Other than the fact that he wrote a really great story. And how many books did he have? He had like 40 before Song of Ice came out, which means that
he
part of the reason he's so good at assembling a full world with all the detail and all the stories is he's done so much of it already.
I wanted to read his I don't remember what it was called. I started it, I wanted to finish it. It was basically a riverboat vampires.
What?
Basically, yeah, it was like it was set in like, the Mark Twain times. And this vampire lived on this riverboat. And this guy kind of becomes his valet. He's not quite aware this guy's a vampire. And I forget what it was called. It had a really good opener, a really good setup.
How funny.
The vampires had agreed, we're gonna lay low, only take the blood we need. We're not gonna go crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know how it goes crazy, because obviously it goes crazy because George R. R. Martin's writing it.
I need to find out what this is. What this is called.
Riverboat
Just
vampires.
Type in JRRM Riverboat Vampire and it'll pop.
Fever Dream?
Fever Dream, that's it. Fever Dream.
Interesting.
Yep. He did a lot of really cool stuff before.
It's from the 80s.
Yeah.
Hey, it's a horror novel. Okay, I'll read it.
Oh, you'd love it. It opens up with the vampire talking to a normal human. Human doesn't know that he's talking to a vampire. He's going through his like wine collection. He's like, "What's this wine?" He's like, "Oh, that's not for you. You wouldn't like it." Like, oh. And he drinks them. It's like, whoa! It's his blood that's been in the bottle, and
that sounds fab.
Pretty good opener.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks for the rec.
Very cool. Well, but before we end the show here, do you have recommendations for our audience? Because I like to get, I like to hear about the weird books I've never heard before.
I read tons. I read tons and gobs, and you're going to make me go look at my list of most recent reads just to see several of them, because I've got some good stuff in my recent past.
I recently picked up Robert Silverberg's Lord Valentine's Castle because it had such a fun old-looking cover off of thrift books. I think this is actually a first edition. I think from New York Public Library. Just from I love going through thrift books. I get really old stuff for like pennies.
I love buying secondhand books. It's the best.
Yes.
Because somebody else has either hated it and that's why they're giving it away, or they love it so much that they hope other people will read it too. One of my recommendations I don't have in this room, and I didn't want to get up out of my chair because I'm lazy. But this book isn't out until September. But it's by Zoya Stage, who is one of my heroes who I got to interview recently. I'm plugging that. The episode is now live, by the way, on Booked.
Oh, nice.
She wrote a book called Something of a Calling, which is an eco horror, and it's like when the animals basically have had enough and they want to reclaim the land, and it's very good. It's very, very good. I loved it. I always have to plug this. It's backwards. Medusa by Kyle Farnworth. It's not just because my quote is on the front of the cover. It's actually a fantastic thriller. It's really, really, really good. It's a cult thriller. This book, The Trees Grew Because I Bled There, is actually a collection of short stories by Eric LaRocca. It's very, very good.
That's a cool name.
He's fab. I got to interview him recently as well. He's amazing. He does like fantastic horror. It's always really sad, and I really like that. And I have to recommend Bury Your Gaze by Chuck Tingle because I love Chuck Tingle's work. I know only one of those was an indie author, but it's just what I've read recently.
Very cool. Very cool.
So I can give you two. I'll give you one that I've been recommending for at least 20 years. But I mean, I read it when it was brand new, and I have a copy that copy I have lent out at least 15 times. That it's gone out and come back to me and gone back out. And you may have seen me looking around my bookshelves, and I remember that I've actually lent it out again. So that's how come I don't have it. But is The Gargoyle by might be Patrick Davidson. Davidson's the last name, but The Gargoyle. And it's a time traveling fantasy adventure thing that so that you'll enjoy this one, Saffron. You ready?
I'm writing it down already.
The thing that sticks in my head is the guy being debraded. He's been in a horrible car accident and most of his skin is burned off. And one of the things that they have to do is periodically the nurses get in with the wire brush and debrade.
Oh, yeah.
And so it starts the next part of the story starts with him starting the debrading process. And it's one of those things that as you start into the scene, it's like you feel physically sick while you're reading it because it's got such punch. The story is wonderful. It really sticks with you. Obviously, it stuck with me for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's like something everybody throws around, but everybody I've ever lent it to has been like, this was not what I expected. And they liked it too. So I can do that one. And then I read this week, I read The Anatomy of Magic by Alexis Menard. And I rather enjoyed it. It was a nice little kind of, let's call it sci-fantasy. It's alternate universe, kind of steampunky, but it has enough future stuff and it mixes in the concept of vampires and everything. it was a lot of fun. It was an unexpected gem that I picked up this last week. And like I said, I read and I listen to books in volume.
Mm-hmm.
So, probably 50, 60 books a year, I guess, is what I read. And that was one of them that I did this week. Oh, and then of course, in our category, Kanai, Dave Dobson.
Yeah.
Awesome book. If you haven't read it, it's a science fiction and it's good. I rather enjoyed that one.
It won Spacebow, didn't it?
It did. It did win Spacebow, and it deserved it. It was not at all what I expected. As I got started with it, I was like, this isn't what I expected, but it just kept rolling, and I enjoyed it from page 1 to the last page. And I spent half the book going, damn, Dave can write. This is good. I enjoyed this.
That's nice.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, that was good.
All right. Where can people find you guys? Saffron, you have a whole show.
I do have a whole show. It's called Booked. So go to @BookedPod on YouTube because I interview authors constantly. I don't stop. It's just a thing that I do all the time. There's a huge back catalogue. There's like little shorts and stuff. I have the book selection box coming up. I forgot the date. I think it's 2 weeks from now, I think. Sometime. Go have a look. It's scheduled in the live section, which will be hosted by Sarah Arnoux. And we're going to have a very cool lineup of authors reading their work. Stuff and things. Go and subscribe to the channel so that I can do it as a job, please.
Nice. E.L, how about you?
Well, elmontague.net will put you in touch with everything. But you can look for me as E.L Montague, L.E Montaigne, or M.L Edward. Those are all me. And it's just science fiction, fantasy, and horror, romance, and then the M.L Edward is thrillers and adventure. So I write under all those names. There's 12 books are published right now independently. There's a back catalog on other stuff that is harder to find, but don't worry about that. The 12 that are out now, I've got 2 more ready for this year, and I'm about 30 plus or minus 1,000 words into 2 more novels that I'll probably finish writing them this year, but I probably won't publish them until next year. So that'll be 5 books for this year. I'll be ready to do some more for next year, and buy them here. These are the 2 most recent ones. That's the reason I pulled them out of the closet. So The Price of a Bleeding Heart, which is book 2 of the Commodore Stone series. So if you,
hold it up.
Hold it up.
Oh, gorgeous cover.
Yeah. This
very, very cool.
Very, very fun.
Anas Arzak does a really great job for me, and he does all the Commodore Stone stories. And then The Lost Girl, which is book 1 of Cantalera. Felipe also does great work for me. That they're my most current books. I would love having you out there. Book 2 of Cantalera is one of the books that I've got about 30,000 words into, and I'm really digging the story. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, very cool. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment a weird book that you want people to know about below, so people make the video go good on YouTube.
Yes.
Thank you all for joining us. Goodbye and good night.